Welcome to the Gut 360 podcast. I'm your host, Eli Brecher, a registered associate nutritionist on a mission to empower you to transform the health of your mind, body, and gut. This podcast is the place where we share nutrition tips, mindset tools, and actionable steps to help you thrive on your journey to a healthier gut and a happier you. If you're ready to get into the driver's seat of your own health and unlock your full potential, you're in the right place, and I am so glad you're here. Hello and welcome back to the Gut 360 podcast. Happy Monday if you're listening in real time. Have you ever found yourself comparing your skin to that friend who has the perfect glowing complexion? You know the friend I mean, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I see new skincare products popping up left, right, and center. They're all over Instagram. So today I wanted to delve into what actually matters when it comes to natural skincare, particularly for sensitive skin. I also wanted to chat about the link between gut health and the skin because it's an area that's not spoken about enough. So I'm looking forward to exploring this today, and hopefully it can help you on your skincare journey as well. And who better to chat to about skincare than Sarah Murrell, the co-founder of By Sarah. So pop your earphones in and head out for your morning walk. I know it's cold, it's winter, but wrap up warm, go get some steps in. And before we get started, you guys know we have an opening tradition on the podcast, which is my food of the week and my favorite way to use it. So the food of the week this week is parsnips. They're rich in both soluble and insoluble fiber, so they're great for your digestion. And they're also a good source of vitamin C, vitamin K, and folate. Of course, they're also in season right now, and they always remind me of this wonderful festive time of year. One of my favorite ways to use parsnips is in my Mediterranean roasted vegetables recipe, which is up on my website, elibrecher.co.uk. It's linked below. And this is honestly one of my favorite side dishes and a lovely way to add more color and nourishment to any meal. Now let's get into today's episode on uncovering the gut-skin connection with Sarah Murrell, who's the co-founder of By Sarah, a skincare range born of sisterly love. When Lauren was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, her sister Sarah became the stem cell donor and saved Lauren's life. As Lauren recovered, Sarah struggled to find natural yet effective products to soothe and revitalise Lauren's cancer-ravaged skin. So she decided to develop her own formulas, and with this act of sisterly love, Skincare by Sarah was born. Sarah has a career spanning over 15 years in the beauty and wellbeing industry, including roles at L'Oreal, Estée Lauder, and Unilever. A functional medicine academic and BSc student of nutritional sciences, Sarah passionately believes in sharing her knowledge to help those with sensitive skin find comfort and healing. So welcome, Sarah, to the Gut 360 podcast.
Hi, Annie. It's so great to see you.
It's such a pleasure to have you on today. Now, Sarah, can you start off by sharing a little bit about your background, what you do, and how you came to become a functional medicine academic?
Yes, well, it's been quite a journey, and thank you for the very kind introduction. As you say, I have a career that spans over 15 years in the beauty industry. That's really where it all started, working for some of the biggest conglomerates like Estée Lauder and L'Oreal, and really having such an intimate knowledge of skincare and skin function. And a real turning point for me came when my younger sister, my co-founder Lauren, was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. It's a very rare form of blood cancer, and it came totally out of the blue. So Lauren was hospitalized overnight, began her treatment right away, initially underwent chemotherapy, that didn't work, and then she had a stem cell transplant, and I was her donor. So it was a miracle that I could save Lauren's life, and going through that journey so closely together as sisters, I also noticed that with all the treatment she was having for the cancer, that her skin was becoming increasingly sore, sensitive, at times really uncomfortable. And what I would do is go into the hospital after work or on the weekends, and I would bring with me skincare that I hope would provide some comfort to my sister Lauren. And nothing was working. In fact, everything was actually making her skin a lot worse. And the only real option at the time was steroid treatment, which was being prescribed by the doctors. So very humbly at the kitchen table, with no intention of ever establishing or launching a brand, I began formulating skincare just for Lauren, trying to find ways to really help comfort, nurture, and nourish her sensitive skin. And so the seeds of By Sarah were born, and Lauren's skin responded so positively to the formulas that I was developing that some years later, Lauren and I decided that perhaps many more people would benefit from what I had initially developed just for Lauren. And so we launched By Sarah, and we launched in 2018. We are now a fully established B Corp, and we are made for sensitive skin. So anyone that really does experience skin sensitivity, whether that be skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, or general sensitivity. And that journey has also led me onto my current journey. So while running By Sarah as a brand and a business, I'm also doing a sciences degree, which is so exciting and incredibly fascinating. And I think now that we have so much science and so much data at our fingertips, it's just a real passion of mine now to find ways to help people feel better. And particularly those that are really struggling with their sensitive skin, looking for solutions that are going to really work for them and provide a sense of relief and comfort. So the journey has been one of, as you were saying at the beginning, born of our sisterly bond and very much a personal journey as to how By Sarah, the brand, came to be. And now on this journey that I'm on as a functional medicine academic, I'm really diving into the science and of whole body health.
That is so exciting. Where to start? I mean, firstly, what an amazing sister. That goes without saying. I love the story behind this brand. I think it's really genuine and special. And I've seen you two together at your events, and I can see the relationship you have is so lovely and really inspiring as well. And obviously I'm obsessed with the product. I think even for people who don't have sensitive skin, but those looking for more natural products without kind of toxins and chemicals and all of those things, I'm such a fan of the whole range. I use it every day. We'll get more into the range throughout. And also we will be offering a discount code towards the end of this episode. It's so exciting when you become really passionate about nutrition and then you take it up, you start studying it. That's what happened to me as well. My first degree wasn't even in nutrition. It was in French and Spanish. And then by the time I got to actually studying nutrition, I remember just being so fascinated and also so motivated to succeed at uni and in my course, because it was me who brought myself to do the second degree, the further study. So I'm sure you feel that motivation as well, because it's something that you're super passionate about too.
Absolutely. And at By Sarah, we don't see the skin in isolation. And I think there's this tendency that we tend to sometimes forget that the skin is this incredible, sophisticated organ that does so much for us. And I think sometimes it's a bit of an afterthought rather than considering the skin very much a part of our overall health, our overall well-being, and really taking good care of it.
I totally agree. I always say, let's take a 360-degree approach to health and well-being. And I take that stance towards the gut. I specialize in gut health. And I'm often talking about things like the gut-brain connection, the gut-hormone connection. But I know there's also this gut-skin connection. So can you tell us a bit more about what science says about how gut health and skin health are connected? How do the two impact each other?
Yeah, and isn't it exciting and so brilliant now that we do understand so much more about skin and gut. And as you say, we know about the gut-brain axis and there's the gut-skin axis. And essentially what we're understanding is that we have a gut microbiome, this really incredible ecosystem of microorganisms that influence our hormone health, our immune health, and also our skin health. And what the research is showing us is that when there is an element of gut imbalance, so gut dysbiosis, then it can in turn impact the health of the skin. And we tend to see skin conditions like eczema, rosacea, psoriasis, they are exacerbated when there is some gut dysbiosis. And this can also impact the skin barrier as well. So we have a skin microbiome, which is another really interesting and emerging area of research and science. And our skin microbiome works very much in the same way as our gut microbiome, but it's there really to ensure that the skin's acidic pH pH is maintained at a good level, that it's optimizing skin barrier function. There are even some microbes that can support skin hydration. So we really want to, again, it comes back to how we care for our skin, how we use our skincare, using products that are very much mindful of this skin microbiome that we have, because when our skin microbiome is healthy, there's an abundance of good flora, it's balanced, then we tend to see that the skin is much happier and calmer too.
Amazing. I think it's such an interesting connection. And I love that more and more people are taking an interest in this now too. But on that note, I do often see influencers and people all over the place promoting these quick fix solutions for skincare. So what are some of the common misconceptions that you see around skincare, especially regarding those quick fixes versus more holistic solutions?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. And I think there's a tendency that we think that one product will solve everything, or in fact, even using more product can help. But actually, it's really about taking a very streamlined approach. And when we're conscious of taking care of our internal health, whether that be our gut, our hormones, then we start to really pay close attention to our skin. And it really isn't about overlayering the skin with lots of different types of products. We really say it by Sarah, try to avoid over cleansing, over use of exfoliants. They can aggravate the skin barrier. And when you do have sensitive skin, what typically happens is either there's a genetic predisposition, or you'll find that your skin barrier tends to be weakened. It's already compromised. So when you're then using products that can irritate or exacerbate any pre-existing conditions, you'll find that you're then more prone to redness, irritation, increased sensitivity. So as tempting as it can be to reach for potent actives, or even the sort of the hard-hitting blemish blitzers to get rid of spots, we actually say take a much more mindful and considered approach to your skincare. Less is more, and harnessing the world of natural science and embracing beautiful natural ingredients. And I mentioned there spots, and spots with sensitive skin can be really, really tricky to manage, because what a lot of products tend to do is dry out the skin, but actually it desperately needs that moisture and that hydration. So using ingredients like jojoba or papaya enzymes, these are wonderful natural ingredients that have been around for hundreds of years, and they are there to help repair and heal the skin in a very calming and nourishing way.
I love how knowledgeable you are about all of these ingredients, and also your products have such nice natural smells. I know they don't have fragrances in them, and it all comes from those wonderful natural ingredients. I'm having flashbacks of when I was about 12, 13, going into Boots and just scavenging the shelves for all these harsh products. I was getting the strongest cleanser and toner and exfoliator with those harsh microbeads that I was scrubbing as a young teenager because my friends were, or some magazine told me to. And I wish I'd known back then that, as you said, less is more, and it's really about quality over quantity. So what daily skincare would you suggest someone with sensitive skin?
So as I say, keep your skincare routine really streamlined. And if you have been trying lots of different types of products and you're perhaps ready for a bit of a reset, thinking about January and the year ahead, then I'd go back to basics. So you're going to start with a really simple cleanser. And you mentioned there that some cleansers can be quite stripping and quite harsh on the skin. So if you have sensitive skin, what we recommend at By Sarah is skincare that is rich in hydrating actives and nourishing plant oils. So go for a creamy cleanser. Creamy cleansers tend to be able to offer the benefit of moisturizing the skin as well as cleansing the skin. Then you have this beautiful canvas that you can work with. I think of it always like a painting. You're gently preparing the canvas for products that will follow. So then you're going to use some sort of hydration step. And hydration is really important because as we age, our skin's ability to retain moisture just naturally depletes. So we want to replenish as much as we can. Something like a hydrating mist or a moisturizer, just replenishing that moisture and then locking in that moisture. That's the final step. It's about sealing it in. It's about putting on that final layer, your coat before you go outside. And this is where we love to embrace facial oils. And again, it's using really beautiful, high quality plant oils like evening primrose argan, sweet almond, apricot. These are rich in fatty acids that really help to nourish and strengthen skin barrier function. So I would sort of start there. And then I always say, no matter the time of year, do add an SPF into your routine. It really is the best way to prevent from accelerated aging, any UV-induced skin damage. And with SPF, with sun exposure, it really is all about that accumulative effect. So the sooner we can start adding an SPF into our routine, the better.
So I think I'm doing it all right. You know, I'm breathing a sigh of relief as I listen to this. Can I tell you my routine? I feel like you'll be proud. It's basically all by Sarah products at the moment, but tell me what I'm doing wrong. And also if I should be doing the order differently. I start with the cream cleanser, obviously the by Sarah one, which I love. I do the hydrating mist. I know it has ingredients that really do nourish the skin, right?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because you're right. A lot of hydrating mists you think are just water-based and they're just adding a little bit of top-up hydration, but actually ours is aloe vera-based. So that is very intentional, because when you have sensitive skin or you're having an eczema flare, a rosacea flare, you want something that's incredibly soothing and comforting. Mm-hmm. So that aloe is very comforting. And then we're using ingredients like probiotic inulin as well. So it's so much more than a mist, but it really is giving you that essential hydration.
Amazing. Okay, so it's the cream cleanser, then the hydration mist, then I do your daily moisturizer. And I feel like a little goes a long way with that. I love that. Then I have two oils from by Sarah. One is the recovery oil. Actually, I think I have three. One is vitamin C and vitamin E. And then I also have am I saying it right? Bakuchiol?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the one with similar properties to vitamin A and retinol, but much more gentle on the skin.
Yes. And I'm glad you mentioned bakuchiol, because it is such a superstar ingredient. It is a natural retinol alternative. So if anyone is listening, has been using retinoids, hasn't had the best experience, or you do have sensitive skin and you're a bit nervous of using a retinoid, then bakuchiol is a wonderful alternative. And it does mirror the same genetic pathways as a retinoid. So you are still getting the same benefits in terms of minimizing fine lines, helping to support that collagen synthesis in the skin, but without any of the side effects that come with retinoids.
Thank you for clarifying. I think that's a really, really useful alternative. Okay, so those are the oils. I also have the by Sarah SPF, which is amazing and really kind of silky smooth. It doesn't give me spots, unlike most SPFs that I've tried. And then I'm also super excited to try the new skin balm. I'm away right now, but I know that your team is sending it to me when I get back to London, and I'm very excited because I've seen it all over Instagram and it looks amazing.
It is. I'm so proud of our Tender Skin Balm. This was one that actually was requested by our customers, our community, but also came from a personal place for me. I am a eczema sufferer. I've been struggling with eczema since I was a child, and for most of my adult life, I've been able to manage any flares and have not had any major flare-ups. But over the last year or so, I'd noticed that there was a moment where my eczema did flare. It was really uncomfortable. I was actually away from home at the time. And I remember thinking, wow, I wish I had some sort of skincare first aid kit in my pocket to relieve the itchiness and the soreness that I was experiencing. And so I got back on the plane and I started writing up the formula. And so a year on, we were able to run Tender Skin Balm into production. And one of the key ingredients is tiger grass. And we're using the extract, which is called madecassoside, which has been used in herbal remedies for centuries. And it's a wonderful ingredient because it has been scientifically proven to reduce redness and itchiness. So it's just such a fantastic product for the winter months in particular, but I use it now as my everyday moisturizer.
I'm so excited to try it. I also get eczema and I feel like it gets so much worse with the change in season. So especially at the moment, you know, with winter approaching, what advice would you give people to winterproof our skin? I think a lot of people get dry skin, flaky skin, eczema flare-ups in the winter. What would you say to them?
Yes, it is very, very typical in the colder months. So be kind to yourself is what I always say to start with. It can be really challenging emotionally as well as, physically to experience symptoms like eczema. But what I would say is, again, looking for those ingredients like ceramides, fatty acids, ingredients that are very nourishing on the skin. This is where facial oils really come into their own because they really are going to support and protect your skin barrier. Not forgetting your SPF, because again, when you have sensitive skin, you are more vulnerable to skin irritation and environmental aggressors like pollution and UV rays. So getting your SPF in there, but also thinking of your foods, taking a very holistic approach. So lots of omega-3 foods in your diet. And it is that time of year where we are going to be reaching for a few treats because it's, it's the festive season, but I've always being mindful of the 80-20 rule, where 20% will be your treats. But if the majority of the time you're really taking good care of your skin with a consistent skincare routine, using the products that you mentioned there, Ellie, and you might not use them morning and night in the same way. You might have a more condensed routine for the morning if you're a bit time poor in your mornings, and spend a little bit more time in your evenings. But if you can keep that consistency, that really is the key to optimum skin health. And just keep that going through the winter. By the time we get to spring, summer, your skin will be grateful for it.
It's all about the consistency, isn't it? I think the same applies to so many areas of our health, our nutrition, obviously our exercise, even our skincare routine. And I love that you brought up omega-3. That's something I recommend a lot. From food sources, you don't necessarily have to be supplementing, eating plenty of oily fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds. These are all great. Is there anything else that you would recommend from a dietary perspective before we move on to more lifestyle? Any other nutrition tips that you have for good skin?
I would say where you can, avoid the really high sugary foods, the ultra processed foods, get lots of greens into your diet. I found personally for me with the eczema, cruciferous vegetables, so kale, broccoli, those are really important in your diet because they help with our liver detoxification. So we're thinking about the skin. Often when the skin starts to tell us that something isn't quite right, and that might manifest as eczema or acne, it just needs a little bit of help with the detoxification and elimination. So cruciferous vegetables are brilliant for that. All the fatty fish that you mentioned, I love actually doing a lot more now with my lunchtime when I work from home. If I can just sit and enjoy a lovely lunch, then I'll have some sardines, maybe have some sweet potatoes, some greens in there, and just eating the rainbow. I think that, again, that's another way to think of it, and getting that color into your diet and really finding what works for you. We do have customers that get in touch and wonder if there are any intolerances that they're struggling with, whether that be dairy or gluten. I think it very much depends on the individual. I don't think there is a one-size-fits-all approach, as you may know, Ellie, and it really is perhaps just getting a diary together, sort of annotating day by day what you're eating, how your skin is feeling, and then seeing if there are any patterns or triggers that might emerge.
I totally agree. There's definitely no one size fits all when it comes to nutrition. I think we're all so different, so unique. So really tuning into yourself as an individual and how you respond to different foods, but then also taking into account your lifestyle, because you might be eating a so-called perfect diet. Obviously, there's no perfect diet, but a great diet for you, but your skin might be flaring up, and maybe it's because you're stressed or you're not sleeping enough. I always like to take that 360-degree approach, looking at every aspect of lifestyle. Would you say things like stress and sleep have an impact on skin?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, stress is a really big one. And we've spoken a little bit about this recently on our social media by Sarah, because we do have customers that get in touch and say, I think I'm stressed. I think my skin is stressed. What do I do? And this goes back to the gut-skin axis. And typically at a really high level, when we're stressed, we see changes in digestive secretions, including hydrochloric acid, and that can in turn impact the skin. There's a really big link in particular with rosacea and psoriasis and stress. So the more that you can do to be mindful of any stress and getting those micro moments into the day to breathe, drop those shoulders, maybe step outside for 10 minutes or 20 minutes would be even better, but as much as you can afford to, get a walk in. And then with your sleep, it can be tricky. I think where you can, it's about establishing a routine that works best for you. So if you find that you're an early morning person, perhaps you can get into bed a little bit earlier in the evening, get your sleep, but also it being being mindful of your evening routine and not eating too closely to bedtime, but instead have your evening meal and then do something that's really nourishing and wholesome for you, whether that be reading a book, taking a bath, and actually spending more time with your skincare. Really enjoy that moment. Rather than it sort of being a fleeting moment like brushing your teeth, you actually really take the time to massage the skin. I mean, we've got the best tools with our hands, so we can use our hands for gentle facial massage, always working in upward circular motions, focusing on our neck muscles into our forehead. We hold quite a lot of tension in our forehead. So really, really focusing on ourselves, connecting with ourselves through touch and skin, and wherever possible, just making a mental note of, am I getting enough sleep? Am I getting enough movement? Am I being kind to myself? Are there enough positive conversations, connections throughout my day that are helping me better manage my stress?
I absolutely love that. So many valuable nuggets and tips and advice in there. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. Before we wrap up, I know you've started offering a complimentary skin consultation service. Would you like to share a little bit more about what that involves?
Of course, it is a less than 5-minute skin consultation service. So head on over to bysaralondon.com and you can enjoy our complimentary skin consultation service, which is really designed to help you navigate a skincare routine. So we don't have a lot of products at By Sarah. It's a very capsule curated collection. But if you still find you need a bit of support in either establishing a routine or curating your routine, then you can fill out the consultation service and you'll receive an email from me with some recommendations to help get you started and get you on your way.
Brilliant. That sounds like something that so many people would benefit from. So I'll leave a link to book the complimentary skin consultation in the show notes below. And I also wanted to let my listeners know that they can use the code ELI20, so ELI20, if they want to get 20% off the amazing skincare range. It's all linked below. Now, Sarah, we have a closing tradition on this podcast where I ask every guest, what does a 360-degree approach to health look like for you?
That is a great question. I would say with everything that we've just spoken about, it really is looking at whole body health. So not seeing our skin in isolation, really seeing our skin very much a part of our overall health and well-being. So as much as we do take care of our gut, our hormones, it's also being mindful of taking care of our skin in the same way. And it really will benefit you in the long term by investing in your skin health today. The more you can do today to take good care of your skin, the more that it will thank you and the more you'll be grateful for it in the long term.
I absolutely love that response. Thank you so much, Sarah, for coming onto the Gut 360 podcast today. It's been such a pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you, Ellie. It's been great.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Gut 360 podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast or learned something new, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. And make sure you hit follow for weekly episodes every Monday morning. Do share this podcast with anyone who you think it may benefit. And for your chance to win a free online nutrition consultation with me, just take a screenshot of this episode and share it on your Instagram stories, tagging @Eli Brecher Nutrition so I can repost you. See you back here next Monday.